Welcome to episode 3 in the series, Maximizing Your Motorcycle Road Trip, Finding the Ideal Airbnb, and Planning Your Food.
How to find great places to stay that are reasonably priced and suit your accommodation needs while you're on a motorcycle trip. So that was my task as part of our cross-country trips and really any trips that we go on. I usually opt for Airbnb first, and then if we can't find anything in Airbnb, we may choose a hotel. We use the Hilton because our credit card racks up points and we can use points for hotels. So I try to use hotels sparingly because it's not my first choice on the list to stay. I would rather stay in an Airbnb for a number of different reasons. The first reason is I like to meet people who are hosting. I like to support business owners or entrepreneurs, people who are doing their own thing and serving the community, trying to earn a little extra money. I think that the best way to support those types of people is to patronize their Airbnbs rather than big corporate conglomerates of hotel chains and all that. So Airbnbs it is, and I look for privately held hosts. So I'm not looking for Airbnbs that are run by management companies. I'm looking for Airbnbs that are either the host lives there or is run by somebody who is a private owner. I think that the reason for that is that they care more about their customer service, and if there's any kind of special needs that you have, they are much more willing to accommodate you so long as you communicate with them. So with an Airbnb, there's a number of different things I look for in an Airbnb depending on the length of our stay or what our situation is around the stay. It's much cheaper for a single person or two people to stay at an Airbnb where you're just renting part of the house. So you might be staying in a room or a suite or some kind of private cottage, something that's on the property where the host lives there. And those are great for certainly having special accommodations that you might need, and also finding local attractions, any kind of local restaurants or anything you need in the area, different routes for your riding pleasure. They might be able to recommend roads for you or certain destinations, things, sights to see, whatever in their area. And you also get that hometown feeling of being with local people who are friendly. And I can tell you that the Airbnb people who host their own properties are so great. They're wonderful to meet. They're friendly. They're helpful. They're accommodating. They just want to serve. And I think that that is all the more reason to pick an Airbnb over a hotel. The next thing about being in an Airbnb is that you get different amenities. So the amenities will certainly supersede a hotel in many cases. You have access to a full refrigerator sometimes or cooking. So like either a kitchen or a kitchenette, and you might have access to a garage. You might have access to even supplies around the house if something's wrong with your bike or if you're in need of washing it up. You have access to a washer and dryer a lot of times. These are amenities that you want to look for when you're picking a place, and depending on how long you stay. They also have pets. Pets are nice. We have a couple of cats here at our house, and when you're on the road, you kind of miss that furry little friend. So having pets to give attention to and respond to is always fun. So that's another thing. Some of the places that we've stayed are kind of on like farms where they have animals. They have horses and donkeys and all sorts of goats and different things, dogs and cats and whatever. And those places are wonderful because a lot of times they will supply a homemade breakfast from eggs that they've had from their own chickens or things that they've made from their own farm. And that's great. And they're the friendliest people too. So that said, how do you pick an Airbnb? Okay, so the first thing is how long are you going to stay for? If you're staying more than one night, you're going to be looking for an Airbnb that is more accommodating than just an overnight thing. An overnight thing, I'm going to look for primarily that there's refrigeration of some sort, that the bed is great, the bathroom is decent, and there potentially is covered parking. So that is my minimum requirements for an Airbnb on an overnight. And those places, I typically will look for a room in a house that's hosted by the property owners that live there. When we're staying multiple days, then we want a little bit more privacy. So we would potentially book a place where we get the entire room, or it's a little bit more than just a bedroom and a bathroom. Sometimes these shared spaces have living space too, and it's either shared or it's all private. And they will say in the listing whether it's private or not. So that's another thing that you want to think about with your accommodations. One of the first things I do is when I find a place that I'm willing to inquire about, is I will send a message directly to the host and I will ask them a question. I'm looking to see how responsive they are, how accommodating they are, how friendly they might be, how service oriented they are. So that's what I'm looking for with that first initial contact, is the communication with the host. And I typically say, my husband and I are on a road trip on our motorcycles. They're large touring motorcycles. Most people who host Airbnbs don't understand the size of our motorcycles. So I try to explain they're large touring motorcycles. And do you have any covered parking? And also, I ask about the road access and the driveway access. So I'm looking for, it's not up this winding mountain or it's a dirt pass that you need a four-wheeler to ride on. So I'm looking for those types of tips from the host on how accessible their place is. That way we can get the motorcycles in there without any real trouble. A lot of times they'll say, I'll move my car out of the garage and let you park it in the garage. We've had that happen so many times. We've had people say, we'll clear out a pole barn. You can put it in there. We have covered parking. There's a carport for you. Lots of different ways that they can accommodate you for covered parking. And if they don't, I usually say, it's not a problem. We do have covers for our bikes, but it's always preferred if we can to get covered parking in a garage or a carport or something like that, so that we can clean up the bikes, keep them out of the weather, and it's a lot easier to unload and load the bikes. So with that said, I'll give an example of where I'm going to pick. So we are going on a trip coming up, and I'm taking a course in Pensacola, and it's a 3-day motorcycle course. And so we are a day away from that place. So if I give we're over here in Sebastian, and up here is where we're going. And so it's going to take us a day to get there. And then, because we're not highway riders, we typically make a trip out of anywhere we go, and we want to find the best roads, ride the best roads, and make it more of a leisurely travel. If you're like an iron butt person and you want to just go one place to the next to save time, that's your preference. We don't typically travel that way. We usually travel between 300 and 400 miles a day. So that would bring us up to this Tallahassee area in order to make it a 1 day up and a 1 day back trip with an overnight in between. And then we're going to stay three nights in this area here because that's where my course is. So I've got two examples now of how I would do that. So the first thing is I get an area of, I ask my husband, what's the route we're going to take? So I know what road we're going to be on as we go by. And I pick that halfway point, which would be right in about this area where this green blob is. So I zero in and I try to find the name of a town that's nearby. So Bethel is there, and this is Jackson Bluff. Okay, so I know anywhere between Bethel and Jackson Bluff, either in this area here or this area here, is where we want to stay. So what I do is I go to my Airbnb and I type in Bethel, Florida, and I look for the dates that we want to go. So say we're going to go April 17th and 18th. So that's just one night we're going to stay on our way up to Pensacola. And then I say two guests and I click search. So that's basically how you start out. Now, what you have in Airbnb is you can choose rooms, you can choose all these different characteristics of where you want to stay. And then they have filters. So you can also specify room or entire place here. You can put in your price range. You can put in any specificity around bedrooms and beds. So if we're traveling with, say, Mike's brother or somebody else, we would need two bedrooms and two beds. So we would share a bed, and my brother-in-law would have his own bed, and any bathroom preferences if you want one or two bathrooms. Depending on who you're traveling with, you can put those numbers in. With me, this is bedrooms. I would put one bedroom and one bed, and that's going to give me and one bathroom. Okay, so it's going to give me the minimal is one bedroom, one bathroom, and one bed. So we don't need two beds and one bedroom, is what I'm saying. So then there's your amenities. If you have a preference on this, this is just an overnight, so I wouldn't really put in any amenities here. Usually things come with Wi-Fi and whatnot, and they'll say what it does have or have not. They even have a new thing called King Bed. That's kind of nice. So I'll select that for a second and see what I get. And then you can have instant books, self-check-in. I leave all of this stuff blank. The only thing I would put in here is if we were really wanting our own entire place, I leave that blank. And I don't typically put in the number of beds unless we're traveling with other people. So this says there's 48 places. So I'm going to click the link. And one of the places I had looked at previously, actually in this area, south of Tallahassee, where is it? Just a little south of Crawfordville. Okay. So it's a little south of where we want to be, but I'm gonna click on it to see how much it is for a night and then what its ratings are and all of that. So now remember, we're staying here just one night. It's got a great bed. It's got a great room. You can see by the pictures, it does look like it even has a carport here. So I'm looking at all the pictures. Looks like it's got a good shower. Bathroom's decent size. And then, sometimes they give you a picture of their area. So they've got some chickens. But see, there's a car and a carport. So that tells me that there's covered parking potentially. And this tells me that they might have a little bit of a dirt road. And they've even got this in the picture. So they're saying you can use the carport, which is wonderful. This type of gravel doesn't bother us. They show us the picture of the road. This is hard packed. It's not going to be that bad to ride in on motorcycles. So And it looks like it's a up over the garage type of a loft. And they've got some pets. They've got some chickens. The main road in looks decent. So overall, this would be a potential. And what I would say is that's why I already have it saved here because it is a potential for us. The next thing that I'm looking at beyond the pictures is this rating, this 4.95 stars out of 5. So the top you can get is 5.0. So a 4.95 is really good, especially with 308 reviews. Now, I don't read all the reviews unless something stands out to me immediately, and I'll take a look at some of the reviews first, but I read the reviews before I book. What I want to see next is the room, the reservation. Okay, so before taxes, it's $120, and with the taxes, it's $132. So this is going to be the cost to you for this place for one night. So $130 is what I'm comparing to what can I get a hotel for that is going to be comparable in amenities. Now, if I go back up to my search criteria or my filter and I leave it blank, okay, so now nothing is checked off. I don't have, so one bedroom, one bed, amenities, show more. Here's the features is where it has the size of the bed, which is really kind of cool. So I'm just going to leave all this off and say any. Now it gives me a lot more places to choose from. This is typically where I start. And this one here is the first one. It says private entry, no contact, which means you can come in, check yourself in through a keypad, and leave without even meeting the people. But it is a guest suite, so it means that there is somebody like living at the house or there's other spaces. So it says it's hosted by Lauren. She's been hosting for 7 years, top for 5% of homes. Okay, so it's really listed well. It's a 4.96, so 377 views. You know this is a great place. So right there is going to tell you a lot. It'll also give you a whole this about this space. I read the entire thing because I want to know what the host wants me to know. And then where you'll sleep. So it does say the size of the bed here. Queen size is fine. We do prefer a king size because we're tall, but queen size is fine for an overnight at a place that's going to be less expensive than a hotel. The shower looks great. It's on like some kind of a um, big property where there's acreage. It's $70 a night. If you reserve it, it's going to be $113. So that's more in the price range that we're looking for an overnight, which is why I have it saved. So you can click on saved or unsaved. When you save it, it's going to ask you which wish list you want to put it on. And this is Pensacola 2025, so I put it in there. And that one would be great. So I'll go back for a second just to check out the others. This one here is a farm. It's a little bit less expensive. It's still got a queen bed. It's not down here. Where's this one? This one is right here, which is going to be right by the road that we pass, so it's not out of the way. And this one is going to be up here, which is right out of the way of the road we pass. So either one of these two are ideal. I've got a couple others highlighted, so we'll take a look at those in a minute. But this one has farm animals, which means it's a cottage. It's got a 4.93, still a great rating. 314 people have stayed there or reviewed it. So on this one, I would take a look because now we're getting into a better price range. This one's only $87 for the night. So is it going to be something that we would like? She's been hosting 6 years. The reviews are great. It's a bedroom and a bathroom. You're going to look at all of this. This is a 501c, which is a nonprofit. So again, this is something that I would want to stay at because I want to support people who are trying to raise money for themselves or something that is a good cause. So they have this goat farm, really sweet, and where you'll sleep. So they show you a picture of the bed. It's a queen bed. It's well made up. That's another thing I look for. So you're on a farm, but you're not going to be in some kind of weird situation. So let's take a look at what it is that we're going to be staying at. Okay, so here's the road. It's again, it's not ideal for touring bikes, but it's not bad. Like we can travel on this type of hard packed dirt road. And then it's going to be pretty remote, which is kind of cool. Now it sounds like it's a tiny cottage. It says hall, great entryway to the tiny cottage. So it's a small place, looks a little cozy. The bed looks great. I always look at how the bed is made up because I want to see that the people are clean, that they know how to make a bed. Things are going to be tidy and well kept. So this bedroom looks great. It's got an end table on both sides, which is ideal for us because we have, our phones and all that stuff to put down on the edge of the bed. So it's nice. If there's only one, Mike usually lets me have the end table, which is really sweet of him. And he'll put a suitcase or something over on the other side so he can have a nightstand. But this one has both. So you get an idea of what the amenities are in the kitchen. It's got a full refrigerator. Bingo. I'm happy with a full refrigerator because now I can put all of my stuff, my food. Mike talks about how much food we bring on our travels and what we pack. And I always like to have refrigeration and a freezer. So this is going to be high marks in my book for amenities. Then what do they have? They have some cooking supplies, so you can cook some things. We'll usually cook burgers or we'll buy food that's already prepared at the grocery store and take it to eat. So there's going to be a place to eat. Looks like they have some fresh eggs from their chickens that they have on their farm. So that would be really good. We would take advantage of that if they're available. And it looks like they have a little flat plate to use as a stove. So that's fine for us because we're not going to be doing some major cooking. And an area to sit and eat. So there you go. You got a little heater and a TV, which we don't really care about. And then we have a bathroom. Looks like you have to step up to go into the bathroom, which is fine. And then a stand-up shower and a sink. This is great for just one night over. I probably would find this a little bit more difficult if we were going to stay multiple days, but for an overnight, this is like way more than you'd get at a hotel. And a place to store your clothes. And then they start to go into all the stuff that you see on the farm, which is fine. You got cats and goats and all sorts of fun stuff. And chickens, and there's where the eggs are. So the chickens come from the eggs. They offer yoga. They've got some trail maps, and that's what the room looks like. So it's a room. It looks kind of like a storage shed or a cabin. So what I'm going to look for is heat, and the rest is fine. So we go back, and I'm going to start to read what it says about all this. Note it's a private cottage with its own entrance. So this means you're staying on somebody's property. They live there and you have your own private space. That's the best of both worlds. And they're saying that they have heat and AC right here, a private bath and shower, and a kitchenette, queen size bed. So they're talking about the mattress. They have a toaster, all this stuff on here. That's fine. They got cooking utensils and a picnic table for outside. So if the weather's nice enough, you can eat outside. Now, note, they always put in something that's unusual about the place. And you want to read that in the comments because they're trying to let you know ahead of time what to expect. And if they set the expectations up front and you book their place, You can't go back and say, I'm going to give you 4 stars because there was no windows. You know this going into the reservation. So you can't give somebody bad marks for not having something that they told you up front. So I think it's great that they tell you there's no windows in the cottage. It was built as a storm shelter, so it's pretty sturdy. So you're going to sleep well. It's going to be dark. It's going to be restful. It's peace and quiet, which is fine. The private entryway does have windows that let some light into the room. And so unless you're a returning guest, so they don't want you to get there late. So that's another thing that you just want to have common courtesy, being in contact with the people. But they're telling you don't come late. And if there's a chance you're going to come late, don't book here. So I think that's fair. The guest access, they're going to tell you all the things that you have access to, what things cost more if you want to request it. They have fresh biscuits and things like that that you can order ahead of time. They offer a discount for FFA and 4-H, which is great. They are located here. So this is something I would pay attention to. We're located at the end of a bumpy 3/4 mile dirt road off of Highway 20. Okay, so bumpy, part of the road is paved, but most is dirt, and we are prone to flooding after more than a couple of days of hard rain. So if it's going to be pouring out there, there's going to be trouble getting down this road. We have several cars in the neighborhood that don't have a problem on the road. But full disclosure, if bumpy dirt roads bother you, our road is not for you. And most of our guests think it's worth the trip. So what they're saying is the road's going to be pretty tricky to get down. And they want you to know that in advance. Now, these are all relative terms. Bumpy dirt roads bother you. Like if that is like you have to four-wheel to get in there. So I would just ask. We're not adverse to bumpy dirt roads, but if they're going to be where it's hard to get a motorcycle through, we're going to ask. So that's what my first communication would be, is to ask the owner or the host. I'll ask the host, what is the condition of the road and can large touring motorcycles get down there? And even, will it bother their animals? They're also letting you know that they're on a farm in a forest and there are bugs and spiders and honeybees. And if something ends up in your room, it's not because it's infested, it's because it's on a farm and you're in the forest. So this particular one, I think, is full disclosure. And that's how they set themselves up for success, to have 314 people stay there and average a 4.93 place. So now what I would do is I would look at some of the reviews, and I'm going to read some of the reviews because I want to get a sense for how hospitable these people are, what the guests were saying. Maybe somebody's going to mention something about the road in. They were all talking about the farm and super friendly. Good option for the area. Amazing birthday adventure for her daughter. Sounds great. Expert on goats. The bed we slept in was very comfortable, and our cottage room was perfect for the two of us. They brought picnic food to save money and were able to fix their own meals. There were no close fast food spots, so that's one thing to know. We don't eat fast food anyway. It took us 30 minutes to drive to the nearest Walmart. Highly recommend. Okay, so it's pretty remote. That's not scary to us. Place to stay. So anyways, you can see shower was hot with good pressure. So those are some of the things that I leave comments for. I leave how the beds were, how the bathroom was, how the shower was, what the amenities were like, whether the hosts were accommodating, that type of thing. This is their second stay, so they've been back, answered all their questions. So they stayed in a tent the first time and it was beautiful, not much of a camper. Okay, so we're not staying in a tent. But the cabin was the way to go for us. If you want a shower and amenities, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's what we're looking for. It's crazy that people leave bad reviews because of bugs. You're camping, right? Not sure what else to say. It's affordable, tech-free way to, okay, so it sounds like it doesn't have internet, which is, for one night, it's fine. Animals are cute. So you can get a sense. What I do is I literally read all of them because one of them is going to talk about the road in here. And this particular place is going to be, $86 to stay here one night, overnight. It sounds cozy. This would be the one I would pick. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the end of our stay, which is now up here. So we're still in Airbnb. Let's go to our driving. And we're going to go to where is the end of our stay over here. Way over here. Okay, Pensacola. So we are going to be at the Harley Davidson in Pensacola. That's where we're going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for something in this vicinity of where, 95 and this 110 and all these roads meet. Okay, so this particular road and 485, I think that says. So I'm going to zero in on this here so that I can, and I'll use the address of the Harley Davidson, this 6385 Pensacola Boulevard. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that address. And now I'm going to put in the nights that we're going to stay there. So we're going to be there Friday. So we're going to stay over Friday night because the first day of the training is on the 19th. So I'm going to be 19th, 20th, and 21st that we're going to be there. So we're going to stay over on the 18th. We're going to stay over on the 19th. We're going to stay over on the 20th. On the 21st, we're going to head south. So we'll stay somewhere more back towards where the farm is. And if we can get to the farm, that would be great. It ends that day, so we may end up staying over another night to be able to, who knows what we'll do from there. But I'll look for the first 3 nights anyway. And again, 2 guests. So now I'm looking for something that's a little more accommodating for being there several days. So this says it's a guest house and it's got 600 reviews and it's 4.96. And this one is $75 a night, $280 for the whole time. If I'm curious at how much it's going to cost total, $300, $300 for 3 nights, $100 a night to me is about what we're looking for. Okay. And then this one here, it's only going to be up from here. So 293 plus tax. This one's 318 plus tax. And you can see, and so on and so forth. Okay. So the it's this one here is a little bit less, but it's got, this one, like it's not going completely in order of price, but as you can see, the price is going up. And then this one is a little bit lower. That's a 5 star out of 400 reviews. So that could be a great place to stay. Just saying, because it's a guest suite and it could be enough, but it also may not be enough. So that's what we just want to look at. This says guest house. So let's take a look at the first one and see if it's something that we would entertain. It's got a bed, a bathroom. Looks pretty cozy. And it's got a little patio area and it's a guest house, which is kind of nice. It's brick exterior, looks well kept. Inside, looks clean and neat. Looks like it's got all the amenities that you would need. This looks like a small refrigerator, queen size bed, bathroom, shower. Doesn't have covered parking, but it looks like it has private parking, which is good. The neighborhood looks nice. They have a kitty. It's well lit. Okay, so now what my concern here is what's the kitchen? What's the amenities? So I'm going to look at the about this space. And I'm going to read all of this. It says it has lots of restaurants and bars close by. It's a separate structure and affords lots of privacy in a quiet historical North Hill neighborhood. It's comfortable. Palm trees. Okay, so here's other things to note. It's got a Wi-Fi, it's got TV. There's a microwave, a toaster, a coffee maker, dishes and silverware, a small refrigerator. That's the one I saw in the picture. And we provide some snacks, including granola bars and chips and coffee and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so in this particular situation, I would know that we're going, see, we're not going on a trip that's like point to point to point to point. We're going to a place. I'm going to be in course all day. We'll probably eat out or bring stuff back to the place. So cooking is not going to be a major deal here for this. And I'm just concerned with, can I make my breakfast easily? And can we take stuff with us to the course so that we have food while I'm at the course? So this could work because I'm not looking for a full refrigerator necessarily on this particular trip. It is always nice to have a full refrigerator with a freezer because we like ice, and the reason is because we make protein shakes, I make protein breakfast, I make healthy meals, and I want ice for my blender, and I want hot water, and I want a way to either heat something up in a microwave. So if they have all of that, I can deal with a smaller refrigerator, and I don't necessarily need the ice. So, and for the money, it depends on what we're doing. So again, $300 $100 a night a stay. You're not going to get a really big refrigerator in a hotel in this area. So I would consider this place and I would put it on my save for Pensacola. And so that's basically what I do. And also, if I was going to book this one, I would look at all the reviews. And again, that's 600 reviews and a 4.97. So now let's say, okay, maybe I want to go a little bit more expensive because I want a living area and I want a refrigerator and all of that. So this one's an apartment in Pensacola. This is a 4.89 with 207. This is a 4.99. And as we look at the price, it's not that big of a difference in price. If we look at like, what's the total? This is going to be 293, which is a little bit less than $300. And again, it's a 489. So it could be that there is noise or some reason that I would read in the comments whether this place would be doable. But if you're looking to go on a less expensive side, this place might be perfect for 3 nights. Okay, the little living area. So you're going to get more space. You're going to get a full kitchen. It's the bedroom doesn't say what size bed it is yet, so we'll see. The shower looks great. And so you get a sense for the neighborhood. Okay, that's what I'm looking at here. So maybe not a corner lot, but okay. So then this, kind of looks a little dingy. Looks like you got to go up some steps, but it's rustic. It's not bad. There's a walk-in closet, so there's lots of place to hang. And then they do this plant, like I don't understand the plants, but so I would read a little bit more on this one since it's got a 4.89 and not a 4.9 something, and learn a little bit more. It does have a queen size bed. It's got all these amenities, and it's going to be a decent space. So they're talking a little bit less value, the location. Okay. So what I would do is I would just literally read all all these. They're only one or two sentences a piece. The longer ones typically give you more information. This one gave 4 stars. However, this resulted in the main living area getting quite warm. I'm not worrying about it being too warm, so that's not going to be a problem for me, because we're going in April and it's not going to be hot there. It's going to be chillier than hot. Okay, so again, this is why you're reading the reviews, because you want to put it in context to where what you're staying with and not the other person who's writing the reviews, um, opinions about things. It's on a busy street, so it's a little noisy. That's what I suspected that there would be. Maybe it was noisy. Um, this one says it's worth it. So again, to me, that would be fine for staying if I didn't find out that there was something really wrong with the way the host treated them, or there was something wrong with it, because the price is right. Okay, so I'll put this on our wish list. Next one. This one here looks great. This would be ideal. So we're going to take a look. It's a little bit more expensive. So if you're willing to go up another 40 bucks, then how much is 40 bucks worth to you with the extra amenities that you get? Okay, so it looks like it's a nicer kept area, nice yard. It's got more comfortable seating, more seating. Not that we need more seating. It's got a kitchen, great kitchen with a full refrigerator. Looks like it's got a dishwasher and a little place to eat. Bedroom looks nice. It's a queen bed. It's got a nice bathroom with a shower. Parking is right outside the door. That's great. So this one here, depending on whether it was worth the money to you, it's also, again, it's almost a 5 star. So when you're taking a 5 star over a 4.89, you're going to get a little bit more comfort and cleanliness. It looks like it's close to things. It's convenient, no steps. It does have extra space for sleeping if somebody else wanted to come with you. And then again, if you've got other people coming with you, you can split the cost of it. And then you can go down and read the reviews. They're going to be all pretty glowing. There's not really going to be much to stand out, because it's really like got 5 stars all the way across the board. So I would definitely read the reviews in case there was something in here that was affecting motorcycling, but I don't think it would be much. And this one here would go on the list. And so you get a sense for what I'm doing. Now you can try to, based on the pictures, look at all of them. This one here looks like it's a whole house. Again, you're going to pay a lot more. And again, it's got 566 reviews and it's almost a 5 star. So those are the types of things that you want to look at. The other thing you want to look at is, okay, where is my heart in relation to where I'm going? So this one is a little bit further away. It's going to be on the way that we're coming up, but it's further away from the actual location that we're going. This one's like right next door. And this one is a little bit past where we're going. Okay. So if that is something that you want, like say my husband wants to be able to run back and forth between where we're staying and the place, or there's a lunch break and we can go back home for a bit, or if you want to be super close, that's another thing. And then I have this one down here that's also selected, which is that house. So again, this has a carport, you can see, and it also probably has more than one bedroom. It's got a king size bed. It's got more space. Yeah, it's got another bedroom. So if you were staying with another couple, then this one here might be the one you would choose, even though it's a little bit further away than this close one. So that's another thing that you're looking for is like, where are all your hearts? Are they right nearby? Now you might be like, what are these bubbles? You know, why aren't they showing up with the price? It typically means that they have a lower review or there's something about it that doesn't suit your needs. So if I just say, okay, this one's 70 bucks a night, let me just see what this one is and see if it would be something that we would use. So $70 a night before taxes, 320. So it's going to be $340 by the time you're all said and done, which is almost the bigger one. So what are you getting for this? A bed, front of the studio. So it's a little studio, a tiny little microwave, a tiny little fridge and freezer. Looks like a decent bathroom, private entry. So basically what Airbnb is doing is they're not showing this one to you as much simply because it's not as good of a value as these other ones. That would be my guess. I have looked at all these because I'm really, really searching and I'm trying to find the right place for us. This one's 482 views with a 4.96. But again, it may not have all the amenities of where the pricing would match. So this one's $315. And the amenities in it, like it looks like it's a room inside of a house and a tiny little refrigerator. Right. So you can see the difference. This one wouldn't show up as much. And it's basically, I guess, a shared space. So you have guest parking and you're going to stay with the host in a private area. And again, depending on what you're looking for, if this was like an overnight, I might choose this one because it's less expensive. But if it's 3 nights, it's not going to be as convenient. You feel a little cramped when you're in with somebody else, unless the space is like really accommodating. And again, I would look at the reviews and see what they say and find out more about it. But every time you stay somewhere, your situation might just be a little bit different. So that's why I look at all the different types of accommodations, read all the reviews, contact the host, see what kind of response and communication I get back, how accommodating they are, how service oriented they are. And then I will book my place. And you can, if you're looking for something specific, you can go across here and you will be able to tailor your stay. Some of these things are really kind of cool if you wanted to stay somewhere particular. And most of the time, we're just looking for a room or something along the lines of this here, a guest house. And that will serve our purposes, unless we're staying with other people. So hopefully this helps you with your Airbnb shopping. And then the hotels are, everybody knows how to book a hotel. So we sometimes use points. And if we're going on a budget and we didn't want to spend the actual cash to stay somewhere, I might book a hotel and use our points. And that way, those nights are like freebies. And typically with the Hiltons, you get free breakfast in the morning. And sometimes they let you park your bikes under the cover of the entryway. Other times, we'll cover them with our covers. So there you have it, Airbnb, and we hope you enjoy your happy travels.
Okay, food and water. Seems kind of basic, but getting this right absolutely maximizes the enjoyment of your motorcycle road trip. If you don't plan your food and drink, a couple of things can happen. One, you'll probably spend way too much money. And two, you'll end up feeling drained. The phrase food is fuel could not be more accurate. Just like your bike needs high quality fuel to perform, so does your body. Relying on gas station hot dogs, Twinkies, and sugary sodas can leave you running on empty with low energy, poor focus, and overall sluggishness. Our approach is simply to pre-plan our food. We ride touring motorcycles. They seem to work better on a motorcycle tour. Lots of storage for stuff. In addition to our hard bags and my trunk, we each bring a large soft-sided travel bag that we put on our passenger seat. Lori also packs a soft-sided cooler that goes inside of her soft-sided travel bag. This is where we keep all of our perishable stuff, all of our snacks and food for the day. In the cooler, we always make sure that we have nutrient-dense, protein-rich foods. Absolutely the key. Nutrient-dense, protein-rich foods. Foods, for example, like trail mix, beef jerky, hard-boiled eggs, a lot of times leftover meat from the night before, from dinner the night before, and of course lots of water. To keep things cool, Lori will freeze a couple of water bottles, put them in with the food. We can drink them as they thaw, and it keeps the food cold. Most Airbnbs have full-size freezers, so that was not usually a problem. At the end of the day, we identify a local grocery store where we grab usually a rotisserie chicken, something healthy. A lot of times it's a rotisserie chicken, like a slab of meat or a cut of meat, some sides and a salad, and sometimes even ice cream. We're not crazy. So we have a great meal. We don't have to cook. We eat really well. We look forward to it, and we have leftovers for the next day. So the takeaway, spend a little extra time packing high quality, protein-rich, nutrient-dense foods. It makes a huge difference in your energy and enjoyment on the road. Plus, our average daily food cost for 2 people was $75. Man, that's the cost of one dinner at a restaurant for 2 people, at least. So if anyone's interested in more details on what we pack and what our nutrition plans are, let me know. I'd be happy to send it to you. Episode 4 is next in the series, Maximizing the Motorcycle Road Trip, Packing for the Road Trip. You won't believe the stuff that my wife Lori gets on our bikes. It's twice the amount of stuff I could get on if I was doing it myself. So she has skills, she has a process. We're going to share it with you next up.